The Death Note of Anime here, bringing you my review for One Piece episode 810, and I'm not gonna lie, compared to the last two, well, to the last like 7, 8, and 9 episodes, 807, 808, and 809, I feel that this one was a bit of a downgrade compared to. It was a bit of a downgrade episode compared to the last couple of ones we had. I mean, it was still entertaining for what it was, but there were still a lot of moments that I felt weren't as good as the past couple episodes we gotten. The animation, for starters, was a little hit and miss in this episode because there were a couple of repeated frames of animation, and a very weird and honestly slightly awkward overhead sweeping shot of the Enraged Army with like it was kind of using CGI animation, like the a sweeping shot of the Enraged Army, but in using CGI animation. So like that one was a little awkward, to be honest with you. It was very short, luckily, but it was it was still hold on. It was being focused on long enough to the point where you could easily tell it was a little awkward to look at. So yeah. Um, Now, granted, there were one or two moments in this episode that especially that definitely, even with the even with the kind of a little bit lackluster animation compared to before, there were a couple of moments that still did stand out for sure. Like, I think my favorite moment was the transition between Nami's thunder attack transitioning back to the scene of Sanji and Pudding hugging. Like, I just felt both that whole transition in itself was actually pretty amazing and pretty well flowing, I'd say, and especially just the lighting on it as well was amazing in itself. And but yeah, and even though the animation was kind of hit and miss, the artwork though was really good. Like I said, going back to that scene with going back to that scene with Sanji and putting like just the lighting on that when it got to the point of their embrace, and you see the lightning just flashing in order to illuminate the scene. That was a really well done piece of artwork, as well as there was a lot of just as was just it was weird because pretty much throughout all this gloominess that we got in this episode, that there was still a lot of popping colors in this episode with the artwork. So I can definitely appreciate that. Yeah, but so basically, there are two things that happen in this episode, which is Luffy fighting the Enraged Army, and Sanji saying that he fully accepts the wedding with Pudding, and he will marry Pudding. And there are definitely things to note, definitely with those two particular scenes. The first scene is, while not confirmed yet, I think it is safe to say that this whole fight with Luffy and Nami versus the Enraged Army will probably end with their capture, with Luffy and Nami getting captured and taken to the palace, and the reason for capture and not death is A, because Luffy's the main character, duh. I mean, that's the most obvious one, and B, we see Lola's Viva card glowing in this episode, so like, and we see how he managed to actually throw back a few of the chess soldiers. So that makes me think, considering they're pushing the Viva card, it makes me think that something's going to happen where the entire army is going to see the card, is going to see Lola's card, which would finally confirm for both sides that the Straw Hats know Lola, and from there, I think Luffy and Nami will probably be taken prisoner as taken prisoners, so the Big Mom pirates can, and even maybe Big Mom herself can sort through the whole situation. Because if there's one thing I'm sure that this whole card is gonna do, is that it's gonna throw everyone for a total fucking loop. Like, I think this is gonna cause a lot of confusion on the battlefield, and I'm sure that this is probably gonna open that we're that when that happens, we're finally gonna get the full on details of what Lola's current relationship with both her family and Big Mom especially are. Because I do kind of wonder if it's really like pretty much the way Otis set this whole thing up. I get the feeling that it isn't going to be all smiles and all smiles and all smiles and forgiveness forgiveness even if Big Mom finds out about Lola's card. Like, I get the feeling there is going to be a wrench that is going to be thrown in somewhere here. I don't think it's going to be as simple as what Lola ended up as what exactly Lola told them it would be. Because when we think about what happened on Thriller Bark, when Lola gave him the card, she pretty much said in order to show the card to her mama, and then Big Mom will help them out. But after this, I get the feeling that there are some things that Lola failed to. After seeing all this, I get the feeling there are some things that Lola failed to tell. That failed to tell the Straw Hats. Like, I get the feeling that there is a bigger story here that Lola just didn't tell them. And this card, this one, it's funny how this one card is probably gonna bring everything to light. So, yeah, it is interesting in that sense. And now the Sanji and Pudding scene. So, like I said, Sanji bonds with Pudding in this episode, and both agreed in order to get married, pretty much because both Sanji and Pudding have in their own way suffered. And I'm just gonna say it, Pudding, I don't trust you as far as I can throw you, cause no one, I repeat, no one in Big Mom's family can be that goddamn nice. Like, I swear they're practically setting it up for Pudding to do something demented or twisted. And believe it or not, the setting itself was in itself was pretty much already set up. Like, yeah, Big Pudding isn't as nice as she's letting out to be. Something about her is totally fucked up. And believe it or not, looking back on this episode being animated now compared to the manga, like, I forget if this particular moment was in the manga or not, but one little minuscule touch in this episode really gave it away for me that this is that something is going on with Pudding, which is Pudding's little slime friend and the carpet homie, which those two guys, the Pudding's slime friend and the carpet homie, pretty much gave it all away that something isn't right in that situation, because with just the way they were looking at the display between the two, just the way that they were smiling there, and I know that the homies in general have a tendency to smile creepily and whatnot, but just in the way that I guess it was just in their placing in the episode that really said to me that it was just, I guess it was the slime guy and the carpet's placing in the episode that really made me think, yeah, something is definitely off. I know it's strange, but with Oda, I definitely know he's pretty much always about these subtle little touches in the One Piece world, and this is definitely one of those subtle little touches. So yeah, I think just seeing that those two in there was definitely already enough of a red flag for me to say it set off definitely alarm bells in my head, and like I said, I forgot if that little touches in the manga or not, but yeah, I think that Toei and by extension Oda is saying to us that we should not trust Pudding as far as we can throw her. Like, we need to keep in mind that Pudding is probably going to be bad news later on in the story. So yeah. Also, I guess if there was one other problem in this episode, is that there was a brief scene of Carrot and Chopper fighting Brûlé, which honestly was so short. I felt that they could have really cut that out or not do anything with it. But I guess there are still going to be those little issues in One Piece where because it's so freaking popular, it has to be done weekly. So obviously there's going to be a little hitch here and there, but yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I have for this episode. Go ahead and tell me what you thought about it leave a comment below, and also be sure to follow me on Twitter and Facebook. Dead Night of Anime, signing off. Hey guys.